Alright, good morning. Welcome to another PaulyBones Tabletop Miniatures quick tip number 3. And did you see that? Boom! PaulyBones. It's awesome. I got some new video editing software, so I'm going big time now. It's going to be awesome. But today we're going to talk about how to base your tiles with stone tile, or base your miniatures with stone tiles. There we go. So you're gonna need a few things. This is how I do it, anyways. Like I always say, this is how I do it. Many ways to do things. What you're gonna need, I get these from the local railroad shop. It is called polystyrene, if I pronounced that right. Anyways, you can get this at Evergreen Scale Models. They have a website, evergreenscalemodels.com. And these strips are plastic and they're very easy to use. They're these ones are 2.5 millimeters by 6.3 millimeters by 0.250 inches. Anyways, that's what I use. So if you see that on the package, see, can you see that? They're little strips of plastic, and these things are really easy to use. You can get them in big sheets, thin sheets, so many different sizes, and basically all you do is you score this with your knife to the size that you want, and it's as easy as just snapping it. And when we shape it, right? This is basically going to be the width of our stone tiles that we're going to use for our bases. What else you'll need is some snips, because we want to put some designs in the stone as well. Sometimes you can snip them off, and this for scoring. So we'll get to the next steps. How to make your stone tile bases from PaulyBones Tabletop Miniatures. All right. Oh wait, can I do a fireball? Let's see. I don't know if that worked, but we'll find out. Okay, so the first step that you want to do is you want to take this, and I cut them 1/2 inches, or every tile 1/2 inch. So if you have a ruler, that works. I like using my mat because my mat's got a ruler. So we're gonna do that. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm gonna start at 1/2 inch, and all I'm doing is take my knife, right, and I'm just gonna score 1/2 inch all the way down, right? Now you can sit there and keep scoring if you want, or you can simply just snap. See how easy that is? As you score, right? There you go. So I gotta make a lot of these because I've got 6 bases that I'm gonna make stone tile for my massive darkness heroes. But I'll keep doing that, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the next step. Alright, now that I've made all my little tiles, ooh, solid white blocks, this is where I take my snips, right? And all I'm doing now is I'm going around and I'm making little marks in each one. Now I'm not squeezing hard enough to cut the tile, right? But I'm just doing, you know, maybe in 3s or something like that. I don't know if you can see that. Let that focus. Not focusing. Alright, well anyways, there you go. Right? You'll see that what it looks like when it's painted. But you see it here, and I go around. The good thing about this is when you're doing one side, the other side's happening too, right? So you're not messing around trying to find out which side that you're going to be doing. It does both at the same time. Like I said, just randomly cutting through it, right? Give it a little squeeze, give it a little squeeze, give it a little squeeze. Some of them you can, you know, take a little chunk off as well, to show like it's broken or whatever like that. It all depends what kind of effect that you're going for, right? But you know, you can also do something where, you know, it's like a scratch. So you're going 1, 2, 3 across, right? But you know, it doesn't really matter. I mean, as long as you're not trying to keep them all the same pattern, then it's not going to look weird, right? Because if everything is the same, something's going to be off, right? So, oops, something like that. Okay, so I'll keep going through this, and then we'll get to the fun part. Okay, now that I've got all my tiles here, and I've gone and put little nicks and stuff like that in them all, the next thing to do is to start gluing them onto your bases. Now you guys remember these bases. These are the ones from quick tip number 2, where I cut them off. So I'm using the same miniatures, I'm using their bases and stuff like that. So best way to start is I get to these tiles and I try to find the center of the base, right? So center, and then I work outwards, putting the tile offset to each side and then work through it that way. So all you need to do is get yourself some glue. I use 2 different types of glue. For plastic on plastic, I just use this plastic glue from Citadel. Works fine enough. Oh wait, look at that. A little nozzle fell off. There you go. But basically, all you're doing is you're grabbing some glue and you're just gluing on a tile. Now it takes a couple of seconds before something actually sets. I'll move that out of the light for you. So I'm going to start with the first one and kind of let that sit in there. And I'm going to do the second one. Right? And remember, because the snips notched both sides of the tiles when I was shaping them, I'm not worried about what side to put them on unless I see something really cool. So now I've got, you know, something like that. And don't worry about the overhang. You want to do everything over top of what you're going to cut off afterwards, and I'll show you how to do that as well. Sorry, the light's kind of getting in the way there. But then I just go and grab another tile, right? And put some glue on it. And this one, like I said, I'm doing it offset, so it's kind of like in the middle, like this. And the next one, now what you're going to find is that to fill in the gaps, you're going to have odd pieces, right? So, and don't worry if everything's not straight, because it looks more authentic, right? So now you're back up here. The next one I'll do, I'll have a full one in the middle and do it kind of offset on that side. So all you're going to do with the other ones like this is you're going to take your snips, right, to fill in the gaps. You're just going to take one, cut it in half like this. So now you've got little pieces, right? And you just put the glue in the corners like that and like that. Because you're going to snip this. Once it's all dry, you're going to come around with the snips and you're going to snip everything around the base so it goes back into a circle shape. Alright, I'll continue going and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, now that I've gone and glued all the tiles to the bases, you see this? Looks like a mess, right? You're like, what the heck is that? All over the place and stuff like that. That's what it's going to look like. But you always got to imagine what the end picture is going to look like. So I'm going to let these dry up. I've done 6 of them, right? See how the cracks and all that stuff come in play. But once these dry, then the next step I'm going to do is to start going around and snipping all this off so we get back into a circle shape. But I'll give it like 15 minutes maybe before I start snipping those, just to give a good adhesive from the glue. Let the glue do its job, right? And then we'll go back and do that. Okay, I think I'll let these dry enough. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start snipping some of these, right? We want to get it back to the original base shape. So I'm going to get my clips and I'm just going to go from underneath. And this does make a mess. You're going to get little things flying all over the place, so just make sure you clean up your mess afterwards. Because you don't want little white pieces of plastic coming around, right? And you're just going to go around and you're going to follow the shape. Be careful when you get to the ones at the end, the thin ones. You want to be a little gentle, and if they pop off, that's okay, because we can fix that with some mud or something like that, right? That's like a missing tile. Just be very careful. You kind of hold it down with your finger a little bit, and you just go around, start snipping, and you can hear them shooting off little bullets. Doof! probably a better way to do that, but I won't be doing that right now. We're almost there. Like I said, just want to hold with your thumb the little pieces at the back or the sides. Right? Kind of got your shape around there. And then you can keep on going a little bit if you want to make it perfect. If you missed any pieces, just shaving it off. Right? Keep on clipping away. See, some of them are a little. This should be good enough. Alright, so what you're left with now, after you've gone and clipped it, is you got your round base with your stone tiles on it. So I'm going to go and finish the other 5 of these, and then I'll show you what they look like when they're done. Oh, wait, there's a little bit of a lip on this side that I don't like. Let's clean that up. Okay, there you go. Alright. See how the cracks and all that stuff look pretty good? It looks better once it's painted. Alright. Now that I've cut them all. Okay. Next step I'm going to do is get them all primed up. Now I'm going to use gray primer. It's actually Citadel. Mechanical Standard Gray. That's the primer I'm going to use. Get these all primed up, and then we'll go to the next step, and the next step, and the next step, and the next step. Alright, now that I've got these all primed up in gray, starting to look more like stone tiles, but we have some more work to do, of course. What we're going to do is we're going to use Citadel Shade Null Oil, give it a shake up, and I'm going to start washing these. Putting this wash on. It's called the wash, that's the technique. Right, so grab a big fat brush and just get in there. Now it's really important that you try and get in the crevices here too, right? So it looks nice and dark inside. Because after this step, and you want to get the sides as well, after this step we are going to be doing some dry brushing. And in order to make that effect look really good, you want to have dark crevices. Now some of the gaps in between the stones didn't get any paint in them when you spray it. It's because they're too thin enough to get the paint in there, but not tight enough that you don't need to worry about it. But anyways, right, so I'm just washing, and then we're going to let these dry. On the next one. It's fun watching this stuff come to life, right? We started with strips of white plastic, and then we chopped it down so far, and then we shaped it to look like stone would look like. And we glued them to these bases. And now we prime them and we're washing them, but we'll get there. Alright, so I'm going to keep on going, and I'll show you the next stage. Okay, so these have actually dried for a lot longer than I usually let them dry. After the last stage, I actually had to stop and go to work for many hours. But it's still the same day, it's just nighttime now, and we're going to get back into this because I want to get these bases finished. So, I'm going to take an dry brush, a pretty wide one, and I'm going to use Deck Tan from Vallejo. This is a great paint to use. I love Vallejo. 3 paints I use is Vallejo, P3, and Citadel. So always give this a nice little shake. Now I'm not going to add any water to this because it's dry brushing, so there's no need to add any water to it. That would just be ridiculous. Well, there's like wet dry brushing. It's another technique, which is kind of weird. So I just put a dab right here on my palette, and I'm just going to grab it. I'm going to wipe it off on my paper. Now, I also have something I like to use, was texture paint at first, but I always use this, and I give it kind of like a dry brush on there just to scrape most of it off. I'm going to take these bases, and I'm just going to dry brush with this deck tan. Now, any light gray would do for this as well, just because you want it to look like stone, and you want to get, kind of do this while I'm in the thing, and you want the sides too, right? Because you want everything to look like stone. So we're going to do this. Dry brushing is a great technique to use because it catches all the crevices, but I'm pretty sure you've already watched 1,000,001 videos on how to dry brush. But to be honest with you, when I was looking my first time searching how to make stone tiles, I didn't really see it done this way, and it just seemed a lot easier for me to do it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and dry brush the other ones, but basically, right, what you're seeing here is some stone tiles. We're not done yet. We're going to pick out a couple of stones to make it a different color, like accent stones and stuff like that. Alright, so I've gone and dry brushed all of these, giving them their stone look. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use Seraphim Sepia, which is another wash from Citadel. Good shake, and I'm going to pick out a couple of the stones just to give it that bit of a brown color. So we'll take one, doesn't matter which one, and I'm just going to take one stone off this base, and I'm just going to give it a wash. Right, just be careful not to let it bleed onto one of the other stones, because you kind of want to make sure it looks like it's a separate stone. And if you're doing one of the stones that are at the edge of the base, you're going to want to do the edge of it as well, or else it'll just look weird. You'll be like, well, why the top of that stone is brownish and the side of it is gray? That's just doesn't look more or natural enough. So look at this, right? I've kind of given it a little tinge on the side, and I'll dry nice. So I'll do that one, and I'll do, you know what, one right down here on this. Just kind of, you know, make it look a little different, right? Some type of pattern that you can't see the full pattern because you're taking just a section that the hero is stepping on. Is really what you're aiming for, right? Let the imagination do the rest of it. So something like that. And you got the edge. So I'm going to go and do these, and we'll get back. Alright, so I've gone and put the sepia wash on all these stones that I wanted to do. You know, just random areas. And as that's drying, I can go ahead and get to the next step, which is by cleaning them up with my favorite black. This is the best black you can get. Vallejo black. It's just Vallejo black. Best, better than Citadel, better than P3, better than anything I've ever used before in my whole entire life is this black. It's just the best. The only thing with it is it does chip a little easy if you're not careful with it. That's why you always need to varnish. Give a spray varnish or something like that. But I will be adding some water to this, so I'm just gonna dab some out and add a little bit of water to give it a smooth consistency. And I always use this. I get one of these little drop bottles and I always fill it up with water. I'll give it a bit of a drop. Just one drop will be fine. And I'll give it a nice little mix. Alright, I always use the back of a paintbrush, mix up the paint in the pot. It's a nice smooth texture. Clean it off, and I'll be using a bit of a wider brush for this. Where is she? There she is. So it's a bit of a wider brush, just so I don't have to sit there and make too many passes. There you go. Alright, so, and all I'm doing is getting some of this in here. I'm just going around the plastic part of the base. I'm not touching the stone. Right? I'm just cleaning it all up.
so it looks nice, right? Because if you keep the bottom part of the base the same color as the stone, then it's not gonna look that legit, to be honest with you. Be careful. This brush is actually starting to fray a lot. I've been using this same brush for, gosh, well over a year now. I'm actually going to re-dampen that, trying to see if I can get a better point to it. Because it can suck when it's fraying too much. There you go. You don't want to be touching the black part either with your fingers, so just kind of pinch the side of it with your fingers on the stone part that you made. And we're just going to clean this up. It's going to look sweet. I think so anyways. And this might not be your cup of tea for stone tile bases, but this is just one way of doing it, right? Just one way out of many, many ways. So anyways, now that we've got that cleaned up, that's what it's going to look like. I'm going to do the rest, and then I'm going to glue the miniatures, the heroes, that I've been working with this last week, and then we'll go back to the discussion table, and I'll showcase them, and we'll talk about the finished product. Thanks.
Alright, so we are done with these little 6 heroes here from Massive Darkness. It's late at night, it might be dark on the video. There's no sunlight coming from the window beside me, but that's okay. So I've glued these guys to the bases. I've given them a spray of varnish so they're protected. They're dry and they're ready to go back inside of the box when we're ready to play. We have this this guy here, the wizard. But you can see he's on a stone base. Looks pretty cool, right? And you have the barbarian. He's pretty awesome too. And the paladin, he's there. Hello, paladin. You got the dwarf, wow, on a stone base. Looks pretty cool. I like these stone bases, stone tile bases. And you got this lady, she's crazy. And you got this elf chick. But that concludes this video. I hope you guys like this tip. Quick tip number 3, how to put stone tiles on your bases for it. You know what this would really be good for? Like D&D maybe, but Massive Darkness is perfect. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching another PaulyBones Tabletop Miniatures video. Quick tip number 3, please come back, subscribe. If you guys have any questions, please ask the questions on my YouTube channel, on the video, anything you've seen today in this video that you weren't sure about, or some questions, concerns, feel free to ask. I'll try to answer the best I can. Hit that like button, subscribe so you can see many more quick tips. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. I just started a week and a half ago, and I'm trying to pop out videos here and there. I paint miniatures all the time, so I'm always doing weird stuff. But this is awesome. All right. Thumbs up, subscribe, fireball out.